God is hidden in the lifestyle that most people ignore. God is hidden in the lifestyle that most people ignore, or they disregard, or they consider not valuable. And if only people value those things, it just depends on what you can actually receive from it. Some people might not even want to go that route. People want to make money, but don't necessarily want to do the things that actually generate money. And that's just for people to understand. There are a lot of people, lazy people. They just, they feel like, money should just come to them without putting in the work to do it, which is not principle at all. But people have this weird belief that, money should just come to them and without putting in no work or no effort, no nothing. Because why? Because that is the addiction to the comfortable lifestyle. Unfortunately, that is the addiction of comfortability. People are addicted to being comfortable. I don't know if anybody ever said that before, but if you never heard that before, you heard it now. People are addicted to being comfortable. People are addicted to being lazy. People, don't go out and study how the ants are always working. They're always gathering. Ants go out and understand the resources of what's around them. They go and understand their terrain, and they gather, and they don't stop gathering. They always gather. They don't sit down. And then if they need to accomplish something, they go and band together, and they move a big item twice their size with hundreds of ants, sometimes. So not twice their size, like 1,000 times their size. But yeah, this is what ants do. And if ants are capable of doing this, why people are not capable of doing this? Are ants so better than humans that we're incapable or impractical to do these things? Now, I started off this video talking about, tangible resources and then virtual resource. And in my last video, I talked about how I used to play video games, a lot of video games. I used to waste my time playing video games a lot. And it's so interesting to me how for years I played video games, GTA, Call of Duty. One of my favorite games of all time was Age of Empires. Age of Empires was very, very interesting because you start off in the Dark Ages. I think the Dark Ages. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the prehistoric. I think it was maybe the prehistoric, then you went to the Dark Age, and then you went all the way up to the Imperial Age. You had to gather 4 resources: wood, stone, gold, and meat, I believe, or wheat. It's food or whatever. Though I'm doing these things in a virtual state or a virtual world, and while I am growing and thriving in a virtual world, I have nothing to show for it in the reality world. And I think that's primarily the design of video games, how people spend their time in a virtual world or a virtual reality where they're a king, they sit on a throne, you're virtually rich, while there are people in your reality that's seizing up all your resources to a point whenever you decide to be like, you know what, this is silly of me being in a virtual world and have nothing to show for it. By the time you come out, all the resources are gone because you are distracted. And everything that you earn, whether it be GTA, there's millionaires, there's billionaires, trillionaires in GTA, but when they come out of reality, they got nothing to show for it. Like, they're not GTA rich in reality, they're GTA rich in virtual reality, which is crazy because those people who are giving people these avenues of escapism, because really that's what it is, and saying that you can be rich in a virtual world, those same people are seizing up all the resources in your reality. Why and how? By people having a concept or a dream of having all this resources, all this money, and instead of actually going and do it in reality, they just do it in virtual reality, and it means absolutely nothing. And I think that's very, very quite interesting. Again, I said YouTube and cryptocurrency is a resource. It's a virtual resource. And while it's made available, use it, utilize it. But don't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket, because with a click of a button, whenever somebody decides to turn it all off, it's out of your control. And this is why tangible resources are very, very important. Tangible resources only come with understanding what you have right in front of you. Dirt is a resource. When you have dirt, you can grow food. Grow food in your backyard. Have a little mini garden. You have dirt. You're rich with dirt. If you have a plot of land or a backyard, whatever, it doesn't matter where it's at. If you got dirt, you can grow food. Understand the resources that you have. And then also understand what these resources can supply. Again, we have mesquite and we have cedar trees here. That is a resource that offers us nitrogen. Mesquite wood can be used for smoking and cooking food over. That's also, another thing that you can use mesquite for. Mesquite also puts on mesquite pods, which you can use a lot of things for mesquite pods. You can make a form of sugar. You can make mesquite pod coffee. You can use mesquite pod to make gluten-free flour. Not just looking at the resources that you have, but understanding the resources that you have. Gathering resource. And whenever you gather your resource, you understand, there's always going to be somebody that don't have what you have. Just because there's an overabundance by you does not mean that the person across the world has what you have. You also got to understand that. So understand what you have, understand what's under your feet, work with what you got. Again, like I said, if you got dirt, which is a resource, because our dirt, I will tell you, this dirt down here is not the same as the dirt in the north, in Illinois. And there might be somebody in Illinois who wants this type of dirt for the clay. This dirt is rich in clay, literally. There's people who make pottery. There's people who want clay dirt. They like clay dirt. And so clay dirt is a resource. Clay is a resource. They used to make homes out of clay. They make kilns out of clay. They make pottery out of clay. You can do a lot with clay. That is a resource. That is a tangible resource. That's what I want to talk about, tangible resources versus virtual resource. That's it for my video. Peace and God bless everybody. I will see you all in my next video.